Good evening and welcome to Collector Cars. I'm Lance, your host. As I told you in the newsletter blast, in the email blast, we had a special guest tonight. And you actually live where?
Arlington, Vermont.
Arlington, Vermont.
Vermont.
Holy smokes, from Vermont we have Matt Litwin, who is with Hemmings Muscle, Hemmings Motor News.
Hemmings Motor News.
Hemmings Motor News. And it's actually the Hemmings Muscle because they have...
We have 4 titles.
4 titles.
Yep. Hemmings Motor News was started in 1954. And we've launched Hemmings Classic Car, Hemmings Muscle Machines, and Hemmings Sports and Exotic Car.
All right. And it's the Hemmings Muscle Machines that we've been... that Bill's been working with you.
Yep.
And naturally, we don't want to get too deep into the interview before we announce Mr. Mergens.
Really?
How you doing?
Good, good.
I see you forgot your magazines, you forgot your notes.
We've been out shooting cars already.
Well, get off the plane and get the camera going. I mean, come on.
Here at 2 and we're shooting at 4.
I love it. I love it. We, when I met you briefly, was a year ago, January, wasn't it?
It was, yep.
And that was at Devereux Kaiser. But you had also been down here in November, and you had looked at some cars. Bill put together some cars, and you looked at those, and you did some shoots.
The whole odyssey started when Ed Zukuski emailed us about his Mercury, and I had been coming down anyway for the Zephyr Hills auction.
Okay, cool.
And that's what started all. I was down for Zephyr Hills. I zipped on over and photographed Ed Zukuski's car and ran into Bill. And
isn't that a cool Marauder?
Yep, and yes, it was very cool.
You don't see those, man.
No.
And then, so Big Ed is the one who first contacted you.
Yep.
And then you met Bill while you were doing that shoot, or?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And he started emailing me, and we
just
went back and forth.
You think back, Matt, if you'd have known what you know now, you could have turned around, walked away.
Well, we wouldn't have so many great cars in the magazine either. So.
I'll tell you, this guy here, Bill Mergens, is just a wonderful guy, and he's just into the hobby, into the photos, the whole bit, doing stuff, and he was so excited. He said, man, I hooked up today with a guy from Hemmings and so on and so forth, and we talked quite a bit, and Bill does some great photography too.
Yeah.
He does some excellent photography. And what I'm going to do is when I do the clip, Bill's probably going to talk to you more about, you know, the shoots that you were doing and stuff like that, and what it actually takes to do the job that you do. Now, do you write the articles too?
Yep.
So you write your articles, you get all your information. When you do the photo shoot, to do a car, you're shooting what, 200-300 photos?
Yeah, anywhere from 115 to 200 plus photos. It just depends on the scope of the car, and what kind of story we want to run with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Bill was just, you know, he was just tickled pink. And then as he saw every week, when you catch up on your shows, every month that there was another car from the Sarasota Bradenton shoot in the magazine, we showed it on a TV show. Like, here, you got so-and-so's car in the magazine. And so we've been kind of pushing the magazine a little bit, you know, and so that these guys will, you know, get, because it's a thrill to any classic car owner to see his car in print.
Yep. We still have, from that round, I think we still have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3 left? Which brings me to my next point, that gorgeous 10th anniversary Trans Am on the way in.
I noticed it right away. Hard to miss.
It's hard to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
well, aren't we doing a shoot tomorrow at 7? I mean, maybe Lance could be up there at 7.
7?
7.
In the morning?
In the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
Like right after the sun comes up, or before?
Before the sun
comes up. If you want to get
before the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to give that one some thought, huh?
Yeah, I'll have to give that one some thought. But I tell you, how long have you been doing this?
Coming up on 5 years now.
5 years now. Now, what was your profession before that? Was it automotive related? Or?
Not at all, actually. I went to school for architectural drafting, and I ended up working for 15 years for a private engineering firm. We did R&D for the Navy.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
No kidding. And then you went from that to?
Saw a job opening at Hemmings, and being a car lover from day one.
Right.
And I was writing for a club publication at the time.
Okay.
Just volunteer.
A volunteer type of thing.
Yep.
Now, had you ever done photography before that? Were you
just like everybody else, a point and shoot, but
as a hobby?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. there's a certain talent. I mean, Bill runs every now and then at my car shows. He does a photo clinic on how to shoot photos of your car, because people submit cars to me to put on the show, which I'd love to. But the front end is cut off, the back end is cut off, the sun, you got a sunspot covering, you know, half the car, all this kind of crazy stuff, but I can't put them on the air. So he's been doing these little clinics. But the thing is, it's kind of like, I'll give an example. My daughter dances. And they always told us you can't teach stage presence. You either have it or you don't.
Exactly.
And with photography, you either have the eye for the shot or you don't. A lot of people can look and go, hey, that looks fantastic. Maybe not. Maybe there's shadows. Maybe there's something else. So you've got an eye for it. He's got an eye for it. I'm your typical, you know, Sunday afternoon.
Well, and I think the other thing we'll see a little bit in the clip tonight we'll talk about is the fact that the way I shoot a car is different than the way he shoots a car. Some of the basic principles are there. You know, you're shooting with the sun behind you and so on and so forth. But because of the standards that the magazine wants, you certainly do things a little differently than I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We try to make the car the star, and that's the
Right.
focus of the whole thing. So fountains in the background, flower beds, we're not interested in any of that. We
Right.
want the car front and center, no trees growing out of the hood. And
Right.
if you really read the magazine, you'll notice that.
Right. You don't want them looking beyond the car and say, wow, where did they shoot that?
Yeah, exactly. Whose house was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want them focusing on the car.
Yep.
I'll tell you, Bill has done, have you seen his new calendar?
I have. Just got
Oh, what did you think of that?
it. Very nice.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
Man's got a talent. We should, you should get those in Hemmings for,
We have calendars, believe it or not. We,
you do your own?
among
from your
among the four magazines that we do every year, we have a Concord program because we have our own Concord Midsummer up at Stratton Mountain, and we produce, I think, close to a dozen calendars Midsummer.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep, different
Very
themed, anywhere from 10 to a dozen.
Now,
just depends.
You're one photographer and writer, and there's 4 magazines.
Yes.
You know, 4 issues. So how many of you are there,
11.
so to speak? 11. So there's 11. You're talking 11 positions to fill 4 magazines monthly nationwide.
Monthly. Yep.
So you got quite a job.
And most of the guys are there. You got is there only one or two people?
There's 10 of us in office. We have several regular contributors, columnists and whatnot that they send in their stuff. But our West Coast editor, Jeff Koch, he lives in Phoenix, Arizona, and he's the only guy that's on the West Coast. You know, we've had snow already up in Vermont, so our shoot season is getting cut short already.
About
Jeff
done,
can still shoot all winter long.
Now, how many do you have that physically go on the road and shoot?
All 11 of us.
Oh, all 11.
Yep.
Now, do you have other contributors that shoot and send them in?
We have, it depends on our freelance budget.
Okay.
It varies from year to year, and at the beginning of the year we have obviously more to work with than we do
I'm
later
working
in the
on
year,
getting
so.
your job.
Yeah, I understand. At the beginning of the year, I can do that because the weather's good here. You know, I mean,
Yeah, see down here, he could send you stuff when it's really nasty weather everywhere else.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
like today, we
got an
he sent me a
advantage.
picture of Dave's Railton.
Yes.
Photographed that tonight.
Yes. Oh, you photographed that.
Yep.
Isn't that what? Did you see all his cars?
No.
Yeah. Well, sort of.
by pictures.
Yeah, by
but-
pictures.
By pictures.
Yeah, he
he's
was
got some
describing.
very neat stuff, and everything he's got is all original.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, you know, like 99% or 100% original.
Great stuff.
All right, let's do this. Let's run the clip. Matt can tell us and Bill can tell us what you're doing and what's happening. There it is, Hemmings Motor News, Matt Litwin. This is the photo shoot last November.
Oh, that one made the cover.
Dude,
Yeah.
was great.
Now, you know, that's not a bad shot there, but that one's mine.
I was gonna say, it looks like yours.
Yeah. So we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but when we do the clinics, you know, sometimes you do them high, sometimes you do them low.
Exactly. It just depends on the vehicle itself. There's certain vehicles that lend themselves to different angles, and we try to work all of them at the same time,
Right.
or throughout the shoot, because when the sun hits, like this particular car, that's a great angle. You see all kinds of body lines on it. And
Now I noticed too you've got the parking lights on this one.
actually, that's an optical illusion. The parking
Really?
the parking lots were not on. We just shot it early enough where the sun was just hitting the lenses just right.
No kidding.
Yep.
And I swore that those parking lights were on.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, when we ran during the clip, Bill was talking about how you go around a car and you look for unique things. You'll look for a name badge or different, you know.
We have our standard list of shots, exterior details, and I could go on and on.
That you have to do.
That we have to get them, absolutely. They're mandatory shots. We call them our safe shots.
Right.
And then if there's enough time, the lighting's just right, the owners are terrific, then we just play with different angles.
Now here you can see we set 2 cars up at the same time. So this is, you know, Mike Adamo's 79, and then Alex and Wanda's GTX.
GTX.
So,
Isn't that gorgeous, that
yeah.
GTX?
So those were actually set up at the same time, and he just rotated positions and went back and forth.
went
How
back
often?
and forth.
How often do you do that?
Quite often enough, believe
Yeah.
it or not.
Well, if you've got a certain light setting and so forth that you're using, and you line them up, you've always got your,
Background
makes sense.
background is key when you're short on time. If you got, for instance, coming down here to Florida, you know, it's not very often we come down, so we might as well maximize our time
Right.
by doing what we can in one spot.
Yeah. And I notice you're rolling around, you're sitting down, you're laying on the ground.
Do whatever you can do to get that right
So this
shot.
is not exactly a clean job.
No, not at all. I probably go through more sneakers and t-shirts and jeans in a year than anybody else.
But to get the shot,
At that
You know.
moment, I happened to forget my tripod, so I just decided to brace myself up.
Yeah.
And this shot, I saw a particular, the way the tree line was and what the Cobra would simply vanish into the background. So getting low or getting high, in this case, the color would stand out.
Mm-hmm.
We still have that to run yet, actually.
I remember in one of the shots on the video where you were just getting ready to take the shot, and all of a sudden you put your hands on your hip, you looked up like, is something, your lighting changed?
The
And you were
lighting
like,
changed.
Well, gonna have to wait till it comes back.
Yep, exactly. And sometimes that minute will just change the entire line on the car.
And the camera, the photos, a lot of times, Matt, are pretty forgiving
Yeah.
as far as, you know, showing blemishes on a car or something. I mean, you know, I've seen cars that had little paint things in it that just, you didn't see them in the photos.
They disappear. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And we really appreciate the guys who, and the ladies too, who spend the extra time cleaning all kinds of stuff. You know, anything from the carpet to the engine bay. And
Well, and you know, when you're taking a close-up of the interior of the engine, those do need to be pretty clean.
exactly. This was interesting. The background we had picked for it was not originally what we had in mind, so we moved the car to this spot, and I just had to play with the ladder a lot, as Bill will remember, and it worked out. That's actually ready to go too. We've been
Yeah, and
working
we
on
moved
that
this. We moved it down the roadway. Now this is the way it went
That's
down the
where-
road, and that turned out to be pretty good there.
Yeah.
That spot.
one. Yep.
That's one of my favorite shots.
Again, another
So-
terrific car.
So all of these are photos that I took. You know, keeping in mind that that I wanted to kind of tell people the story about what it's like to have your car shot professionally. You know, I don't do all those kinds of things when I shoot them.
Right.
I have to have a different criteria, but they're very particular about why early morning and late night. Now they're both cars are together.
Early morning and late in the afternoon, believe it or not, it's what we call the sweet light. It's optimum. You don't have any harshness. You won't get any
Sunspots.
sunspots, exactly, reflections, anything like that. Midday, you get whitewash all over the horizontal surfaces, and it just.
Unlike when I have to shoot, I have to deal with that because I'm typically
Right.
at a car show during the middle of the day, and that's when I'm shooting
Right.
it. So
Recon shots, that's fine for us, speaking as a Hemming staffer. You know, middle of the day at a car show, if we're in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, for instance, for any one of their shows, middle of the day, that's fine, but we wait till the later part of the day.
and you can
or
see, like
dawn.
on this one, how the white has turned to a creamy white, just by the fact that the sun is setting at that point.
Sometimes even a gold. It really brings out more of the car.
Well,
Tell them about that.
the infamous owner shot.
So if anybody's seen the magazine, up in the corner of the shot at the end, they have a picture of the owner in the car, and that's how they do this.
Yep. Most of the time we try to get in the background. Sometimes we put them right in the car,
Yeah.
right around it. Focus on a particular feature of the car.